The space industry is an exhilarating frontier, but let's be real, it is not for the faint of heart. While interest in space exploration is skyrocketing, especially among governments and billionaires, the barriers to entry are monumental. Companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin have established themselves as titans, with years of experience, cutting-edge technology, and extensive partnerships. They've built the infrastructure that newcomers can only dream of. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a surge of venture capital flowing into the sector, and smaller startups are popping up in niche markets like small satellite launchers and orbital services. These companies are carving out their own paths, but the road is fraught with challenges. Starting a business akin to SpaceX is not just difficult, it's a high-stakes gamble. We're talking about massive capital investments, hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. The risk of failure is staggering. Technical setbacks, financial pitfalls, and regulatory hurdles can derail even the most promising ventures. You need world-class engineering talent and state-of-the-art facilities, not to mention a long research and development timeline before you see any revenue. It is a marathon, not a sprint. And let's not forget the regulatory landscape. Entering the space sector means navigating a labyrinth of national and international regulations. You need licenses from space agencies or aviation authorities, like rocket technology, like the FAA in the US. Then there are export control laws, particularly ITAR, which restrict the sharing of rocket technology. Safety and liability regulations are paramount, especially when it comes to launches and re-entry. You also have to consider orbital debris policies to keep our orbits clean and frequency allocation from the International Telecommunication Union for satellites. Compliance can be a slow and costly process, and a single misstep could halt your project in its tracks. The financial capital required is staggering. Launch vehicle startups typically need at least $100 million and often more than $1 billion. Take Rocket Lab for example. They raised over $200 million before their first successful launch. SpaceX itself raised billions in private funding over the years, long before it ever turned a profit. Satellite startups might get away with needing tens of millions, depending on their scale and focus. But even that is no small feat. Major costs pile up quickly. Research and development, prototyping, manufacturing, testing, and of course, the launch itself, each step demands a significant investment. Now what's more, the barriers to entry are incredibly high. You are looking at capital requirements that can make or break a company, technical complexities that require top-tier expertise, and a regulatory environment that can be both daunting and expensive to navigate. Brand experience and trust are crucial after all. Who wants to partner with a startup that lacks credibility? Infrastructure is another hurdle. Building the facilities and systems to support your operations is no small task. And let's not overlook economies of scale. Established players benefit from efficiencies that new entrants simply cannot match. So, while the allure of space may be captivating, the reality is that breaking into this industry is a formidable challenge. It requires not just vision and ambition, but also a robust strategy, deep pockets, and a willingness to embrace risk. The stars may be within reach, but getting there is a journey filled with obstacles that demand resilience and innovation.
When we look at the power dynamics between SpaceX and its buyers, it's fascinating to see how the landscape is shaped by few key players. SpaceX primarily caters to government agencies like NASA and US Department of Defense, along with a handful of commercial satellite companies and international space organizations. This creates a unique situation where the buyers wield moderate to high power, especially during contract negotiations. The number of potential buyers in the market is quite limited. We're talking about a niche industry where most clients are either government entities or a selected group of commercial buyers. This concentration of buyers increases their power significantly, Just to think about it, losing one major client could have a profound impact in SpaceX revenue. It's a high-stakes game, and the stakes are even higher when you consider scales of this contract. Now, let's talk about pricing. Buyers do have some leverage to negotiate lower costs, particularly as competition heats up in the launch service market. Companies like Blue Origin, Arianespace, and China CNSA are stepping into the ring, which gives buyers more options. However, SpaceX has a unique advantage with its cost leadership strategy, primarily driven by its focus on reusability. This innovation not only reduces cost, but also diminishes the buyer's ability to dictate prices. When it comes to dictate terms, major buyers like NASA and DoD certainly have the clout to set certain conditions. They can impose strictly safe standards, timelines, and deliverables that SpaceX must adhere to. Yet it's essential to recognize that SpaceX technology and technological edge, think of the capability of Starship or the heavy lifting power of Falcon Heavy, provides the company with its own negotiating leverage. This creates a balanced power dynamic where both parties have something to bring to the table. In essence, while buyers in the space launch market have significant power, especially due to the size and funding, SpaceX's innovative approach and unique offerings allow it to maintain a strong position. The interplay between buyer power and SpaceX capabilities is a critical factor in shaping the future of space exploration and commercial launches. It's a complex relationship, but one that ultimately drives innovations and progress in the industry.
When we think about SpaceX, we often picture rockets soaring into the sky. But behind that incredible technology lies a complex web of suppliers. Building rockets and spacecraft isn't just about assembling parts. It requires specialized components that only a handful of companies can produce. This creates a unique situation where suppliers hold a significant amount of power. They can influence prices and terms, which can impact the overall cost of a mission. Imagine trying to negotiate with a supplier who knows they are one of the few capable of providing a critical component. SpaceX faces this challenge regularly. The reality is that switching suppliers isn't as simple as picking up the phone and making a call. Once SpaceX partners with a supplier, they invest time and resources into testing and getting approvals for those parts. This process can be lengthy and expensive, making it hard for SpaceX to pivot if they encounter issues or if prices become unfavorable. However, SpaceX has a game-changing strategy that sets them apart from many other aerospace companies. They manufacture a significant portion of their components in-house. Take their engine, for instance. By producing this crucial themselves, they reduce their dependency on external suppliers. This is not only gives them more control over their quality and performance of their components, but also helps them manage costs more effectively. This in-house production strategy is a smart move. It allows SpaceX to innovate rapidly and respond to challenges without being held back by suppliers' constraints. When they can design and build their own engines, they can iterate and improve at a pace that is hard for suppliers to match. This agility is essential in the fast-paced world of aerospace, where every second counts and every launch is a high-stake endeavor. Moreover, by keeping production in-house, SpaceX can maintain a tighter grip on their supply chain. They can ensure that the parts meet their exact specification and quality standard, which is critical when you are sending payloads into orbit. This level of control not only enhances reliability but also fosters a culture of innovation within the company. Engineers and designers can collaborate closely, leading to breakthroughs that might not happen if they were relying on third-party suppliers. In a sense, while SpaceX does face a moderate to high level of influence from its suppliers, their proactive approach to manufacturing has allowed them to mitigate that risk. By investing in their own production capabilities, they have created a more resilient and efficient operation. This strategy not only empowers SpaceX to keep costs in check, but also positions them as a leader in the aerospace industry, capable of pushing the boundaries of what's possible in.
When we talk about launch service, the difficulty of finding a reliable alternative to SpaceX is medium to high. Why is that? Well, let's break it down. SpaceX has established itself as the most reliable and cost-effective launch provider in the industry. Their rockets, especially the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy, have set the standard for reliability with a track record that's hard to beat. Now there are alternatives out there. Companies like Arianespace with their Ariane 6 United launch aligned with the Vulcan rocket, and Blue Origin with New Glenn are all vying for a piece of the pie. But here's the catch. These alternatives often come with the higher price tags, less frequent launch schedule, or they are still in the development or testing phases. SpaceX's ability to reuse rockets gives them a significant edge in both pricing and launch frequency. This reusability is a game changer, allowing them to lower costs and increase the number of launches they can perform each year. So, can launch service be outsourced? The answer is partially. Some components of the rocket, like avionics material or engineers, can indeed be sourced from external suppliers. However, SpaceX prefers to keep most of the development in-house. Why? Quality control, cost efficiency, and vertical integration are key factors. By developing their technology internally, they maintain a tight grip on the entire process, ensuring that everything meets their high standards. But let's talk about the bigger picture. Can entire launch service be outsourced? Realistically, no. If you want to use a different launch provider, you are essentially stepping away from SpaceX altogether. That's a significant decision, considering their dominance in the market. Now, what's about automation? This is where things get interesting. Many parts of rocket assembly and testing are already highly automated. Robotics play a crucial role in manufacturing, and automated testing process streamline operation. When it comes to launch operation, like countdowns and flight control, much of it is software control. However, it is important to note that these systems are still supervised by humans. The human element is vital for ensuring safety and market real-time decisions during critical phases. In summary, while there are alternatives to SpaceX, they face significant challenges in matching the reliability, cost-effectiveness, and frequency of launch. Outsourcing is possible for certain components, but the core of launch service remains tightly controlled by SpaceX. And while automation is advancing, the human touch is still essential in the high-stake world of rocket launch. The landscape of launch service is complex, but one thing is clear: SpaceX has set a high bar that others are still striving to reach.
The space industry is experiencing an unprecedented level of competition, particularly in the realms of satellite launches and reusable rocket technology. SpaceX has positioned itself as a leader in this field, thanks to its innovative approach with the Falcon 9 rocket and the ambitious Starship program. These advancements not only provide a cost-effective solution of launching payloads, but also enhance reliability, which is crucial of attracting clients in a rapidly evolving market. When we look at the competitive landscape, it's clear that there are a handful of key players vying for domains. Blue Origin, founded by Jeff Bezos, it makes strides in developing reusable rockets and it has slight set on future space tourism. Their approach is ambitious, but they still have a way to go to catch up with SpaceX's established track record. Then, we have United Launch Alliance, a joint venture between Boeing and Lockheed Martin. They hold a strong position due to their government contracts, which provide a steady stream of revenue. However, their pace of innovation is lower compared to SpaceX, which could be a disadvantage in this fast-paced industry. Arianespace and China CASC are also significant players. They operate on a larger scale, but their technology in reusable rocket isn't as advanced as SpaceX. This put them at a disadvantage as the industry shifts towards more sustainable and cost-effective launch solutions. Rocket Lab is another interesting competitor. They focus on the smaller rockets and are now looking to expand their capabilities to larger payloads. Their niche approach has garnered attention, but they still face the challenge of scaling up to compete with the likes of SpaceX. Despite of growing competition, SpaceX continues to set itself apart. Their strategy revolves around lower prices, faster turnaround times, and the integration of Starlink. Their satellite network that aims to provide global internet coverage. This multifaceted approach not only diversifies their revenue stream but also solidifies their position in the market. As the rivalry intensifies, it's clear that SpaceX is not just resting on its laurels. They are constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the space industry. The competition may be fierce, but SpaceX's commitment to innovation and emphasis keeps them at the forefront, ensuring they remain a dominant force in the ever-evolving landscape of space exploration.